Hello, everybody. It is Wednesday, the 18th of January, and I just want to follow on the video I made before and just explore a bit more what I can see is happening to us at the moment, and where we really need to understand what we are and what we're doing. So, to start with, one more time, like the drop is not the ocean. The drop really represents your individual experience. That is who you are. You are just one small defined part of all. But you could say that the knowledge of all is inside the part. So there you have then the holographic universe. Yeah, the knowledge of all is in every small part. It is in your drop. But it is a question how much of that knowledge do we illuminate inside of ourselves. So if you say all is just like this massive board of light bulbs, how many of those light bulbs are switched on in your experience? That is your knowledge. And for us, it is really that we should switch on those light bulbs that will serve this experience. Yeah? And to me, it really is a case of if you were to switch them all on all at once, you would have knowledge of everything instantly. It would quite simply burst your bubble. It would destroy the form. So, that is to my mind, that is what would happen. It really is in Indiana Jones, the Crystal Skull, when she says, give me all of your knowledge, and she kind of disintegrates. I really think it would be like that. So that is who we are. That is this experience. And really, I think we do switch on more light bulbs as we go along, and that's what I want to talk about. We have two different ways of doing it. But always keep in mind, that you keep the bubble intact. I think the bubble itself might be able to expand over time. But, if you just switch it all on, I think that would be it. So as I see it right now, as I can see it, we have two ways of expanding knowledge. First of all, what is illuminated in the drop as knowledge, that is in our rational mind. That is what the rational mind knows. And that is what is creating this world. That is what we have defined, what the rational mind has given form. That is solid knowledge, which to us creates a solid world. Yeah? And again, do not do away with the rational mind. Yeah? This is what you're anchored in. This is the place from where you explore the rest. But this is your anchor. Stay in it. Stay anchored. Stay grounded in the knowledge that you have. And expand from there. And again, don't take on knowledge that will destroy your anchor. No good. All possibilities are out there. Not all possibilities will serve you. Some of it is bad for you. Don't go there. So we have this illuminated knowledge that we're in. That is now a solid world. And the rational mind can find more knowledge of its own in going deeper into the solid form. Yeah, dissecting it, seeing how it works. And that is physics, chemistry, biology. That's our sciences. And that is going the way of the rational mind, deeper into what we know. But there is the other way. And that is expanding our energy body, our feeling body. Yeah? And really, and that is the way where we encounter things that we do not yet know, that we have not defined, that are not yet part of our solid world. And then really we must understand what it is we're doing if we're using that body. So in a way, that is what makes us a God. Yeah, and I'm sorry that people get upset with that, but that is what it is, and you might as well get to grips with what you are. Yeah, I mean, in the Hindu text, God is described as both the solid and that what stretches out beyond the solid, and that is what we are. Again, holographic universe. We are one of the smallest parts that is created in that way. So, I mean, if people think I'm talking blasphemy or I don't want to be a god, well, if it's any consolation, I think we're the dumbest gods on the block. But that is what we are, and we need to understand what it is we're doing. And the fact that we have free will in choosing what we do with the knowledge. What knowledge we even take in and what it is we do with it. And that's where good and bad comes, in. What do you do with it? It's not in the knowledge itself. Again, your rational mind should have something to do with it, what you do with the knowledge. Again, don't detach. It is your anchor. It is holding you back, yes, but it's also keeping you safe if you use it correctly. So don't do away with it. So what I think happens, and that is what happened in the old texts, they went that way, feeling what is out there. And they encountered they felt other energies. And then again, your rational mind gives that energy a form, as in it's likening it onto something that it already knows. And then it is completely subjective. It really depends on what story you are in. Yeah? So if you're in a religion, it might take the form, liken it onto an angel or onto a demon. And that is again because your body will send you, your energy body will send you a message of this is dangerous, according to what you are. Yeah? It will send you a message of fear. Or it will send you a message of, well, that is good for you. And that is what creates the form. And if we are going more and more that way, we really must understand that there is not actually an angel or a demon out there, or Darth Vader if you're in that story. And your mind starts likening that onto Darth Vader, and then you come back screaming Darth Vader is real. No. You just encountered another energy, and your rational mind likened that onto Darth Vader. That's all that happened. And kind of we are then assimilating what is out there into our story. Again, should we be doing that? Is that actually a good way of doing things? I mean, if you talk to, or if you think about people like Rudolf Steiner, and I think Tesla was on the same route, when they were saying think in terms of energy and vibration. Yeah? And when Steiner actually described that they saw energy waves surrounding people or coming out of people, they were very rational minds, and they were given that more scientific form rather than a flamboyant story. Might be the better way. I don't know. Again, it's things we need to think about. But I mean, in a way, it is totally unfortunate the way that the ancients interpreted what was happening to them and the words they created, especially in the Judeo-Christian tradition. The words they created are totally unfortunate. Well, the first unfortunate thing is to think that if you're going out, you're going into a higher dimension, or into a better dimension is even worse. It's different. You're expanding your awareness to find something new, something different. Whether that is higher or lower or better or worse, that is for you to discern. Again, being anchored in what you are. Yeah, but it was like, they're not like us, let's fall flat on our face and worship. They must be, like they are gods and I'm nothing. So that was the first wrong interpretation of what's actually going on. And what created our inferiority complex, I would say. And another thing they did, and that is on the Judeo-Christian side, is to liken this onto male and female. I mean, dear God, that has created so much confusion, it's unreal. Yeah, to liken the two energies that make up your duality, they should interact and they should come together. But they liken it onto like a man and a woman coming together, creating a new form. So, and then you come to, on spiritual terms, you are androgynous. You are both male and female. But those terms are just creating outrage in this world. And it's not what they were talking about. They were talking about two different energies or two different ways of knowing. And I would say way back then when they talked to each other, they were very much able to separate the two. When they were talking in spiritual terms about male and female, they knew they weren't talking about a human body. But as people cannot make that such separation now, it's creating all sorts of outrage, which is born out of ignorance, really. So I don't know if I want to go any further, because there were a couple more things I was thinking about. I might try, but this is really now going into the fuzzy bit of the whole thing. And that is what I can see in the stories happening. And that is really jumping dimensions, or jumping matrices, you might say it like this. Because there seems to be something happening that if your energy body goes into the knowing of those other places, that you can actually enter into those places completely. And that must be by changing your own energy, becoming exactly like that place. And then you're kind of being sucked into it. And there are a lot of stories, temporarily shifting your energy, and that has really been a shapeshifter. Again, they're getting a really bad rap. Depends on how you use it. And I think we are shapeshifters if we knew what we were doing. So you have the stories of Jesus where he's surrounded by a crowd that is ready to stone him because of what he's just said, and then he walks out through them without them seeing him. And I think that is a temporal shift of energy, and that is shift of consciousness, shift of energy, where they could no longer see him. But there are other stories, especially in the Celtic tradition, in the King Arthur legend, and I think it was Morgan that did that. And that is basically being away with the fairies, literally being away with the fairies for years on end, where they crossed over again into another. And that is, again, it's a shift in our consciousness, a shift in our awareness, and that they made that permanent for prolonged periods of time. So in the story that I heard of Morgan, she came back, after a few years she came back. In the case of Jesus, again, he shifted out of this matrix into another matrix. He had become that energy permanently. I don't know, can you make yourself permanently into something else? But to me, that is what happened. He was sucked out of here, he became a different energy, and he was sucked into a matrix that was according to that energy. Again, we really must understand what it is we're doing. There are so many pitfalls in this that I can see if we do this blindly. But as I said, there's something fuzzy at the moment, something we need to think about a bit more, what actually happened there. But then dimensional travel is actually created through a shift in our consciousness, which will actually translate into physical experience. Well, then you have the example of Thoth, in the Emerald Tablets. I traveled to many worlds and I took on many forms. I mean, he seemed to have perfected that and was in total control of what he was doing. So, and this is the last thing I want to say today, and why we really must get a hold of this. And again, it was in the story in the New Testament when Jesus said, "For a short while now, the light will be with you." Yeah? And make the most of it. Which, again, in that story, although he went far out to actually jump Matrix, I think that's what he did. That is what's going to another heaven. It's jumping a Matrix. But in this world, they use that shift to, really maintain the bubble. To look after the flesh, to be, to make the flesh strong, to stay in this matrix. I mean, okay, you want to go somewhere else, fine, but, I have a feeling it's like, people think the grass is greener on the other side. It doesn't work in this world. People think they go to another country because it's so much better there, and then once they get there, they find out, well, a couple of things might be better, but they have plenty of bad things of their own. And I think I would think it's most likely you would experience the same thing. So, is it a good idea? But as I said, they said, for a short while, that light will be with you. And then, of course, the church preaches here, well, once Jesus was sucked out of here, gloriously ascended, the light was gone because it was in him. No, he had an understanding, not a terribly good one, I think, but he had an understanding, or part of an understanding. But I think it was something, whether that was cosmic energy, or energy that we are creating ourselves, or a mixture of both, a bit like climate change. Is it coming from the cosmos, or is it created by us? And we say, well, partly us, a lot of it cosmos, and I think that is probably what's happening. But some energy came that started this process, and I think it's happening quite a few times, because it seems to be that during human history we have periods where we just go nuts. And at the moment, one of those periods seem to be happening where people just go nuts, not knowing what they're doing. And a lot of people are shifting into the emotional body and into the feeling body from rational thought. That's the woke crowd for you. And they're making decisions from that place, detached from the rational thought, which keep it together, honest to God. And there are others who have completely detached from their emotional feelings, from their emotional body, and they're purely in the reason. They might be the least affected by this. Yeah. But that's probably not the place to be either, because that's a place where you're a psychopath. So, way of the middle, and knowing what we're doing. I mean, I think this is now the time where we can explore that other side of ourselves, because it's becoming stronger, it's being energized. But we really need to bring some rationality into the whole thing. And I mean, the old stories are helpful, but you really must understand where they were coming from and what they were doing when they created those stories. And you must understand that they could have gone wrong. In especially, I would say, in the Eastern tradition, they have gone completely wrong in interpreting that as higher, better, greater states of awareness, and, you must get out of here. Whereas this would be an opportunity to make this a wonderful place if we work it correctly. Yeah, it could work, and many are saying this now. We are at a fork, and it could work for good or it could work for bad. For it to work for good, we really must know what it is we're doing and then use it with the correct intention, obviously. If you know what you're doing and you use it with the intention of, I want to rule over, I've got one up on everybody else now so I can do whatever I like, that's not going to make things better. Anyway, I think I leave it at that for today, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.